I meet lots of interesting people who I want to help, and the best way for me to give back is to quickly share who they're helping professionally and who they wish they could privately or philanthropically help more. And I help you by keeping the interview short and sweet. People in my circle can pick and choose who to directly and indirectly help with their business or charitable contributions. Who are you helping? Don't forget to subscribe or follow me on YouTube and TikTok so they start paying me to do more content like this. Let's get started. Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is for Who Are You Helping? Today, I'm joined with Kayla Moran. Kayla, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Dan?
I'm fantastic because, after all, I don't know if you're aware of this, but today we are joined by my very favorite member of the audience. And why is my favorite audience member here? Well, it's because this is a Who Are You Helping? And the story behind that is sometimes I find somebody in my circle where maybe they're not specifically in real estate, which is how I spend most of my time, and most of my different podcasts have some sort of real estate related theme. But when somebody I want to help, or there might be some sort of overlap in our business and I want to know what it is, I have them onto this show, and it just takes 8 minutes, and it gives them a great opportunity to emphasize not only what they do professionally, but perhaps even personally or philanthropically or something like that. But before we get too excited with the first four questions, Kayla, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience a little bit?
Yeah, so I think we'll kind of get into it a little bit more with the questions, but my name is Kayla Moran. I'm a Miami-based attorney and content creator, and I'm actually an attorney for content creators, influencers, and entrepreneurs in the creator economy. And I went to law school at the University of Tennessee, but I'm born and raised in Florida, so I came back after graduation. And I think we'll dive into it more with the questions, but I realized when I was in law school, COVID happened my 1L year, and TikTok started rising, and I was like, these girls need are going to need lawyers, and they're going to need representation, and there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to see their value because they're 16-year-old girls dancing in their bedroom. So who better than someone who was a 16-year-old girl at one point dancing in her bedroom? I was 23 at the time, and I realized I could be that person for them. So that was the whole mission behind why I pursued this, and I it's still my overarching mission and goal today. And so yeah, I opened my own firm pretty quickly after graduation, and I still live at home with my parents. That's why you see four stalking behind me. But um, I recently turned 27, and I'm actually really interested in real estate. That's my next endeavor is for 2025 is to purchase a home, start building my investment portfolio and things like that. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I was a dancer my entire life. I'm Latina. And yeah.
All right, I love that answer, and especially the family tie thing, because I think that that's something that in the West we're struggling to keep that those strong familial bonds, and my own life experience has really shown the value of that. But let's get to the questions. The first question I want to put into context, it's who do you help professionally? And the reason why I asked that question first is because, as I said, I really want to help people gain more awareness for whatever it is that they're doing. And some people, because they don't have marketing experience or anything of the sort, they might struggle to spit out a coherent answer for who they help professionally. And in marketing, they call that messaging. And it is really one of the most difficult parts of marketing, is to say who it is you help, what exactly you do for a living. But the fact is, somewhere out there, there's somebody who's giving you money on a more or less regular basis, and people don't just do that for any old reason. So if we know the answer to that question, then we can get a lot further in the relationship. So the first question there, Kayla, I know you've said some things about the influencer part of the demographic, I guess you should say. How would you describe who you help professionally?
Yeah, so there's a couple of subsets within there. So primarily influencers, and there's a couple ways that I do that. So I can represent the influencer personally and directly, representing them in their contract negotiations with a brand who has reached out that wants to work with them for a brand deal, for example, for like a phone case or something, or a lip gloss or something like that, reviewing the brand contract for them and making sure that the influencer understands everything that's in the contracts and their rights and their expectations, et cetera. And So I could do it behind the scenes where the influencer is the main point of contact and I'm just helping them behind the scenes, or I can be the one to step in and say, hi, I'm so and so's lawyer, and these are our red lines, and negotiate with them that way. The other way that I primarily help on that end is representing talent management and talent agencies and being their legal counsel for all of their talent. So same concept. I'm still reviewing the contracts. I'm still negotiating with the brands, but I'm doing it on behalf of a management company who's representing the talent. So I'm not representing the talent directly, but I'm on the talent's team, the larger team behind them. And the management has hired me as their attorney so they can focus on the scope of work negotiation, the actual deliverables, and the assets that are being created. But I'm handling the legal side of things. And then I also help entrepreneurs in the creator economy. So, for example, podcast hosts or a hair and makeup artist or a real estate agent who's using social media to build their entire business. Let's say the real estate agent wants to hire a videographer to help them come to every property and film it. You need a contract, an agreement between you and the videographer, you know, when you're going to get paid a month. Are they going to edit the video? Things like that. Who's going to get paid? How, when, how much? So I help the real estate agent draft that contract or review a contract that they previously have created from, let's say, a mentor, or they were at a bigger agency before and they have a contract, but they want to now go on their own and personalize it. So the other group of people that I help is the entrepreneurs. They are using social media to build their businesses. Like I said, it could be any service provider, a website designer, a graphic designer. If you need an independent contractor, if you need a virtual assistant, those kinds of agreements, your website, privacy policy, terms of use, that kind of thing. And then also I do trademark work as well. So let's say you built a product and you really want to protect the brand to make sure that nobody else can sell jewelry under that same name because that's your brand name and it's really special to you. I help you protect your brand through trademarks.
I love that answer, and I know that there's a little bit of risk of me getting into the weeds here, but I got into real estate specifically. Like I worked for a company that they were doing 10 single family house transactions a month for years before they even hired me, and then I was in charge of their entire tech stack. But I made the jump myself into real estate through syndications, which is technically selling a security. So I know that I have a friend, for example, who he's now retired, even though I think he's in his early 50s, maybe somewhere around there. But he said because the statute of limitations had already passed, the first thing he did after he got his law degree was he and his classmate ended up opening a business and selling a security without knowing that you need an exemption or you need to be a broker dealer in order to do that. So I just want to emphasize that if, for any entrepreneurs in the audience, you do need to also know if you're going to be supporting passive interest in any sort of business, you need to look out for that. And I know that Mr. Beast is just one guy who's, you know, massively successful, but he's getting into some hot water recently for that exact problem, you know, along with like Logan Paul, things like that, things with crypto related offerings. So it's important to know that you can't just offer somebody part of your business or passive returns based off your own effort. So is that something that you rely on contacts for, or is that something that you help out a little bit with as well?
Apologize for the dog.
Okie doke. And we have an extra guest. Hello, puppy. But anyway, you were saying?
Yeah, so I do have some familiarity with it. However, that is something that it's always, especially when we're talking about securities, like you mentioned, or more complex transactions, I will go ahead and tap someone in my network. And that's the biggest thing, right? LinkedIn, and that's how you and I met, is building your contacts, building relationships with people is so, so important because you can't do everything and you shouldn't be expected to. And so having someone that could help you and could teach you. So I'll go learning as I do things by helping out the contact that I reached out to. If you were to like say, hey, this situation happens, I need someone, I'm saying, I'm going to reach out to so and so. And then so and so is going to say, hey, Kayla, do you want to learn this? I'll have you be my co counsel on this so you could learn it too. And then that's something that maybe I do want to offer at some point in the future because now I'm familiar with it. So that's how I've gone learning and expanding what I do know and what I do offer. But it is not something that I do by myself right now or a service that I offer, but it is something that, yes, absolutely, you always have to be aware of the legalities and the, you know, there's a lot of regulation, especially after FTX and crypto in the last few years. AI now is the big one. We're going to start seeing a lot more regulation in those areas. It's really easy to to have a really cool offer and say, I made a lot of money, come do it like this, but there's a lot of risks to that. And I think it's important to talk about that you do need to have a lawyer in your pocket and know someone. And maybe you only know a family lawyer. That's a start. They went to law school. They have access to people that do other types of law. So maybe they're not the right person, but someone else is.
I love that answer. So that brings me to the next question, the origin of it is kind of funny. The question is, who do you wish you could help more? And I already was talking about the emphasis on family. I think that's really, really important. I think some people are coy to mention that when we say, who do you wish you could help more? It absolutely could be your own family. Maybe you've been chasing dollars just to get by for so long that you're not really able to spend that time with the people who are closest to you. Of course, Thanksgiving is coming up in a couple days, and so that's why it's on the forefront of everybody's mind. But the origin of this question, the reason why it was so important to me, is because I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm from the internet. And one of the things I found, regardless of if I was living in Taiwan or currently where I live in Canada, there's always a big push to shop local and support your local economy, which is very, very important. But I really chalk that up to making sure that when you choose a professional, when you allocate those professional dollars to a vendor or something like that, there's a secondary benefactor that you're aware of, so you're getting more bang for your buck. Maybe we all can't contribute as much to charity as we'd like, or have little pet projects like that, volunteering and whatnot. But if you do know who the secondary benefactors of choosing a particular vendor is, then choosing somebody from the internet is done off of a more educated position. So Kayla, as far as it can be privately, it can be voluntarily, philanthropically, artistically, whatever you want. Who's out there in the world that you really wish you could help more?
So I think there's a few ways I could go with this question. My biggest goal and mission has always been to inspire and empower people. I went to law school because I wanted to help people. A lot of people go to law school for that reason. I grew up, I was always in community service. I was volunteering always. My dad's a marathon runner. I would be the one handing out bananas and water the entire 26.2 miles. I volunteered at the Children's Hospital. That was always something that was very, very important to me. And when I got to law school, I realized that doing commercial real estate, the way that I thought I was going to make my money, isn't really going to help me help people, right? So real estate has always been a big part of me as well. And so again, like I said, when TikTok started rising, I realized that there is a market here for people who need resources and need education and need support and need someone to champion them and empower them to take their crazy idea that's really not that crazy and pursue it. And I actually made a reel about this morning. You're only crazy until you're successful, right? And usually it's because someone else is like, damn, I wish I would have thought of that. Or like, I wish I had the balls to do what they're doing. And it's because it's their own insecurities. And we all have them, and imposter syndrome and all of that. But my whole thing is inspiring and empowering people to champion themselves and, find the information and the resources. So that's the first thing that with influencers and content creators and entrepreneurs directly, it's yes, hire me to help you do it, but don't just hire a lawyer and outsource it to a lawyer and expect that the lawyer is going to do it for you. I want to work with you. I want clients. I sit down and I'm on the phone with you and I'm really going through it with you and I want to help you understand. I'm not just doing it to make a buck. Like, yes, of course, that is important, but if I was doing it for the money, I would have gone the big law route. And that brings me to my third point is I I want a family. Family is very important to me. I want it. Yes, I can make a whole lot of money in big law, but then at what point do I get to enjoy it? At what point do I get to travel? At what point do I get to do the philanthropy work and the charity work that is important to me, be involved in my community? You know, that is something that has always been a big part of who I am. So I wanted a job that doesn't really feel like a job, first and foremost, and two, that am I'm passionate about and that inspires me and empowers me to go and give back and do more. So I do a lot of mentoring and networking with law students, virtually, in person, coffee all the time. You know, virtual coffees now that that's a thing, and they're my favorite. I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't had other attorneys say, "Yeah, I'll hop on a Zoom call with a random girl from Tennessee, like, but she's from Florida. But how she ended up in Tennessee? Like, I'm in California. Sure, why not? Let's get on a call." So that's who I want to help, is just people who don't traditionally feel like they have access to a lawyer and resources. And understanding that legal does touch everything we do, especially in the social media world. And it's changing every single day. And I'm learning as I go because it is changing. And we're all kind of figuring it out together and, you know, helping each other kind of along the process.
I love that answer. My next question then is how can people help you? And to put that into context, I like to imagine the genie coming out of the lamp or sitting on Santa's lap or something like that, except Santa in this case is you in the audience. So, as far as people in the audience go, Kayla, how can they help you out?
I mean, the biggest thing is always going to be word of mouth. I've built my entire business through social media, primarily LinkedIn, and that was a professor in law school who really, again, he championed me from the beginning. He asked me what kind of lawyer I want to be, what kind of clients do I want to have, and I said, I have this really crazy idea. What if I was a lawyer for influencers? And everyone said, you're nuts. Like that's not a thing. That's not going to happen. Firms aren't going to hire you. Blah blah blah. And granted, yeah, that is probably and mostly true. But he still said, I think you're onto something. And this was 2021. It wasn't yet what we now know it as, but it was starting to be. And he said, I'm going to help you get there. And I think the best way you're going to do is start building your credibility. So start putting yourself out there on use your blog, use Instagram, TikTok, social media, LinkedIn, writing articles, getting published, things like that. So the best way you could support me is following me on LinkedIn, following me on social media, sharing, tagging, connecting me with people that you think need my help. Again, even if I'm not the right lawyer for them, maybe I know someone who does. And I'm always the first person to say, I can't do this, but so and so can. And I'm happy to connect you if you're interested. Or I'll think of you in 3 weeks and be like, oh, I know someone who needs that. Like, let me send an email or shoot a text or a DM. I'm the first person to do that. So I think the best way to support me is just sharing my content and who I am and my mission and supporting me that way. It's honestly it's free to support me. And then of course if you need legal sanctions, please reach out too. But the best way to support is always free.
I love that because, after all, personal branding is something that nobody can really leave by the wayside. I was a very private person coming from the tech and digital security background. I liked having a high wage, high salary, and then, not having to, like, being able to keep a low profile. But the fact is that privacy is very expensive these days, and I'm not really convinced it's worth the price tag anymore. But as far as we've got those different answers, as far as who you help professionally, who you wish you could help more, and how people in the audience can help you. Now, as far as how to reach out to help in those different ways, I know that through LinkedIn was how we connected, as you mentioned before. That's where I spend most of my social media time, and fortunately I got this really distinct last name. It makes it really easy to find me online, so that's where I encourage you to connect. And also, if you want to appear on this show or on one of my commercial real estate shows like the ones on dandoesdeals.com, the Chance Encounters, we can make that happen. But Kayla, is LinkedIn the best way to reach out, or is it email, phone, website? What are the best ways to reach out?
Professionally LinkedIn for sure, but also Instagram works as well. You can shoot me a DM or I have a contact me page on my website, kaylamoranlaw.com. And yeah, honestly, any way you can reach out, just shoot me a message.
All right, sweet. And then the last thing, now that we've got those different ways to help you, is I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but did you know that if the people in the audience click that downright hideous subscribe button down there, then that helps me? Ding.
Yeah, definitely go subscribe and come subscribe to my content as well. I don't have a YouTube, but LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, I always go live. And yeah, I'm always open to doing video lives like this as well on social media. So if you want to connect with me and share my resources and my information to your audience, I'm happy to collaborate with you on that as well.
All right, sweet. And honestly, subscribing, it's good for you. It's totally free, doesn't cost you anything. My ulterior motive, my real reason for bugging people to subscribe is because those deadbeats at YouTube might actually start to pay for these videos instead of me. And I think that would be amazing. And as I said, it doesn't cost you anything. All it really means is my videos may show up on your list of suggestions, but honestly, you can disregard those suggestions because, quite frankly, I just appreciate the fact that you spent this time with me. Just like Kayla, I appreciate you joining me. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thanks.